I started working on self-driving cars because when I was 18, I lost my best friend Harold in a traffic accident. It was just a split-second bad decision, and a human life was lost. It was horrible on me, his friends, his family. What was even worse is the recognition that there's about 1 million families every year with the same fate. Traffic literally kills millions of people. In 2005, I got my very first chance to bite my teeth at self-driving cars in a competition organized by the US government, by DARPA, the entity often credited with the invention of the internet. What looks thrilling back then looks lame today, but we had to build a car that could drive 140 miles through the Mojave Desert in less than 10 hours. Now, we built this car using AI and machine learning, and I can tell you, with an incredible amount of good luck, my little team in Stanford won this competition and built the very first DARPA Grand Challenge winning car. And then came 2009, when Larry Page and I decided it's time for the next step. You wanted to build a car that wouldn't just drive through a desert, but it could drive on any street in California. So we got a team together of 10 incredibly talented engineers, among them Dmitry Dolgov, the co-CEO of Waymo, and Chris Urmson, who runs Aurora. And we built this car that could magically perceive traffic and navigate around it. That's Project Chauffeur. You heard about it. Project Chauffeur has recently graduated into Waymo. In fact, we have our co-CEO of Waymo presenting later today. And what's fascinating about Waymo, Waymo is obviously the leader in this field, is that Waymo has been able to navigate 20 million miles without ever hurting a person. To put this into perspective, you and I will drive maybe 200,000 miles a year. So it's like 100 human lives of driving without hurting a person. So clearly these cars are safer than human drivers. But there is a problem. Even with the advent of self-driving cars, there's still massive societal problems related to cars. And here in Los Angeles, the number 1 and number 2 and number 3, 4, 5 problem of cars is traffic. And the more self-driving cars we build, the more traffic we're going to have. So let me take you along on a journey with Larry Page and myself, thinking about how we could resolve that problem. That's a few years ago when we started Kitty Hawk. We had this very simple and very pristine idea that if our cars just had wings and they could lift themselves up into the sky, then traffic, as we know it here in Los Angeles, would be a matter of the past. And that's what we do at Kitty Hawk. Outside, we've stationed one of those vehicles. These are the new generation of electric VTOL vehicles. They lift off just like a drone, but within 12 seconds, they fly forward and become wingborne just like a small aircraft with all the gains of efficiency of small aircraft. So these vehicles are not confined to the ground anymore like cars, but they take to the sky. And in doing so, they will transform urban transportation. Now, under the hood is a novel, highly redundant, fault-tolerant 8-motor distribution system. You've never seen a plane with a one-seater with 8 motors, but it can lose one and still flies fine. And it also has a ballistic parachute. So if you feel it's time to do an emergency landing, you pull the parachute. We tested the parachute in many, many weather conditions, and it just works. And to push safety even further, we have a triply redundant flight control system, all the way to triply redundant flight control surfaces, something you never see in a small aircraft. So this we hope to be the safest vehicle ever seen on this planet. It's a lot of work, but that's where we're trying to go. Here you see landing near Hollister. Well, over the past years, we'll see in a second, we've built many, many prototypes. We've built human drones like this one. We built vehicles like those together with Boeing. But this is the best. This vehicle is battery operated, as I mentioned. It has a very small battery. But on a single charge, it can fly 100 miles. That's further than any 2 points here in Los Angeles. And then it's also fast, okay, just like an aircraft. At about 50% throttle, we can go 180 miles per hour. I know what you're thinking. If you drive in Los Angeles, you go maybe on average 18 miles per hour. It's like a tenth of it. We can maybe go 10 times as fast using this aircraft. It's like kind of amazing. It's also insanely quiet. Okay, and I'm saying this because experts have predicted that these aircraft will never be quiet. But the reality is, if it flies over you at 1,000 feet, it's only 38 decibels. That's just as quiet as a library. You won't be able to hear it. And finally, these vehicles are green. Per mile traveled, they use about 1/3 of the energy that an electric car uses. Okay, that's significant. Our battery is only roughly 15 kilowatt hours. It's tiny compared to a Tesla battery. And why does it matter? Well, if you want your cities to be green, if you want to slow down or stop global warming, you got to want this technology because it uses less energy. Perhaps the most significant innovation, however, is that we believe these aircraft should have no pilot on board. And that might sound crazy, but just as much as I believe self-driving cars should drive themselves and elevators should have no elevator attendant, I believe airplanes are safer without pilots on board. 75% of aviation accidents are caused by human error. And that number is going to go up as we have more of those in the sky. So that's a big deal for us. So this technology, as we bring it to market, has the potential to be safer, cheaper, faster, and greener. And it's cheaper because there's no pilot on board. We'll be able to lower the cost per mile below that of a car today. Now, how about certification? Well, we've worked over the years very closely with the FAA to really understand what is the gold standard in aviation safety. And we had the great benefit to learn from the FAA what their perspective is on keeping these vehicles safe. The FAA deserves an enormous compliment for being innovative and keeping us safe. As Mike Huerta tells me, who works with us, the former administrator of the FAA, if we had the same rate of accidents from the 1980s with the volumes today, we would see one major jet crash every 3 weeks in this country. That's how safe has aviation become. And here we're able to really work with authorities to really redefine aviation safety. It's challenging because no one has ever built an air taxi system without a pilot on board. But you know what? Life is full of challenges. It's really fun. Finally, if you look at aviation, it is a field that is rapidly evolving. And if you look at aviation history, we had a lot of innovation before the 50s because back in the day, everybody flew whatever they wanted. There wasn't really an FAA. But now, if you look at the most recent news, you find the FAA massively engaged in bringing this technology forward and bringing with them the best expertise how to make it safe and inviting entrepreneurs and tech companies like us to really rethink how the sky works and how we can roll out a massive air taxi system for the benefit of the people. So it's going to be a lot of work. We are at the present point not ready to submit any type of certification, but I'm very optimistic that's going to change the world. Finally, we are launching, okay? The This is our FAA picture. You see a FAA flying safely. We are launching in Ohio, of all places. The Department of Transportation Ohio has worked with NASA, with the FAA, with the Air Force to put together a situation where these aircraft can fly safely beyond visual line of sight. And the magic of beyond visual line of sight is it really replaces the pilot's ability to see other traffic with something else. That's going to happen in November. For us, it's going to be a maiden flight. It's going to be amazing. And then I believe within a few months, we can actually start taking passengers. And the first passenger is going to be me. You know, that's how it works if you run a company. But I'm so confident in our technology, in our people, our approach to safety. I'm ready to do it. In closing, 100 years ago, we saw perhaps the most important revolution to urban transportation, the advent of the car. And with it came freeways and highways and parkways and driveways and tunnels and parking lots and gas stations. Here in Los Angeles, more than half the ground infrastructure is dedicated to cars. What I'm telling you is that in the next years, we're going to see an equally important change in society where the car is gradually being replaced by these eVTOL air taxi systems. And the way it's going to work is you're going to go to your phone, Uber meets eVTOL, you push on a button, it picks you up and lets you go at the speeds 10 times faster than today. Then only the sky will be the limit. In closing, I want to thank the organizers for making this event happen. I know Kara has been fighting with her voice yesterday and today. What an amazing performance. And I want to thank Shanaz Davar and Chuck Taylor, who is outside, for coming here and bringing an aircraft. We have an aircraft outside. The aircraft has flown many, many times. Have a look and see how you like the future. Thank you so much.